It is 1619 hours. The location is the southern Caribbean Sea, 70 miles north of the Venezuelan coast. The water is a deep, opaque blue, churned by the steady propulsion of a warship. The air is heavy with salt and humidity, hanging at 32 degrees Celsius. It is a deceptive calm, the kind that often precedes a violent shift in the maritime domain. Cutting through the swells is the USS Ralston, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, a $7 billion apex predator designed for high-intensity conflict. Her mission today is officially routine, a freedom of navigation operation monitoring sea lanes in international waters. Inside the Combat Information Center, the lighting is dim and blue. The air is conditioned and sterile, humming with the sound of cooling fans and low tactical chatter. Sailors sit hunched over consoles, watching the digital pulse of the ocean. For the last 6 hours, the AN/SPY-1D radar has painted a clear picture, hundreds of miles of empty airspace and commercial traffic. But the calm is essentially data, and data can change in a microsecond. At 1620 hours, the rhythm of the patrol breaks. A single amber symbol appears on the large screen display. It originates from the south, bearing 210 degrees. The radar cross-section is small, but the velocity is significant. The track is accelerating rapidly, pushing past 20 knots. Inside the nerve center of the ship, the tactical action officer stiffens. He checks the vector. The contact is not drifting. It is not fishing. It is on a constant bearing with a decreasing range. In naval navigation terms, this is the definition of a collision course. The classification comes back quickly.
The electronic signature matches a POVZ Class A Venezuelan naval patrol combatant built for speed and coastal defense. This is not a random encounter. Intelligence reports have indicated heightened aggression following recent counter-narcotics operations. The Venezuelan command is looking for leverage. They want a narrative of confrontation. The contact speed climbs to 27 knots. The distance closes to under 3 nautical miles. On the bridge wings, lookouts raise high-powered optical binoculars. They confirm the visual profile. A gray hull cutting through the waves, throwing up a heavy white spray. The destroyer maintains her course and speed, adhering strictly to the rules of the road. The officer of the deck grabs the radio handset. He broadcasts on Channel 16, International Maritime Distress and Hailing Frequency. He identifies the United States warship. He requests the approaching vessel alter course to avoid a collision risk.
Static is the only reply. The Venezuelan boat does not check its swing. It does not acknowledge the hail. It pushes the throttle forward, closing the distance with reckless intent. This is a calculated provocation, a game of chicken played with thousands of tons of steel. Inside the Combat Information Center, the atmosphere shifts from monitoring to tracking. The fire control radar is placed in standby. The distance is now 1.8 nautical miles. Time to closest point of approach is less than 6 minutes. The tension is palpable, but the discipline is absolute. No one raises their voice. Commands are issued in flat, steady tones. The captain steps onto the bridge. He observes the approaching craft. He knows the geopolitical stakes. If he fires too early, he creates an international incident. If he waits too long, he risks the safety of his crew. At 1622 hours, the electronic warfare console lights up. The AN/SLQ-32 system detects a distinct radar emission. The Venezuelan boat has gone active. They are painting the American destroyer with a fire control solution. This is a hostile act. It signifies an intent to engage. On the forecastle of the Ralston, the Mark 45 5-inch gun rotates smoothly in its turret. It does not point directly at the target. It is offset by 5 degrees. A subtle visual warning, a
a reminder of the massive disparity in firepower. But the patrol boat ignores the geometry. Through the long-range optics, the American crew sees movement on the enemy deck. 3 sailors scramble forward. They are manning a 30-millimeter deck gun. They are not wearing life vests. They are moving with frantic energy. One man climbs into the gunner's seat. Another braces against the mount. They are inside visual range. Then comes the flash. A single puff of gray smoke, followed by a dull thud. A splash erupts from the water, 40 yards off the port bow of the destroyer. A warning shot. The Venezuelan captain has crossed the threshold. He has fired live ordnance in the direction of a U.S. Navy vessel. Inside the Combat Information Center, the condition sets to general quarters. The klaxon does not sound to avoid startling the crew, but the ship snaps to a war footing. Weapons-free status is authorized, subject to the captain's command. The fire control technicians lock their systems. The solution is verified. The 5-inch gun could obliterate the contact in a single volley, but the captain holds his fire. He understands the trap. The Venezuelans want a skirmish. They want footage of an American attack. Instead of lethal force, the captain orders a kinetic deterrence. On the flight deck aft, the rotors of an MH-60R Seahawk are already spinning. The helicopter is the primary anti-surface asset. The pilots pull collective and the machine lifts heavily into the humid air. It banks sharply to the left, dropping its nose to gain airspeed. The Seahawk accelerates toward the contact, closing the gap in seconds. From the air, the scene is stark. The patrol boat is charging blindly. Its wake is a frothing white scar on the ocean. The sensor operator in the back of the helicopter activates the multispectral targeting turret. The infrared camera locks onto the patrol boat. It records high-definition video, capturing the hull number, capturing the faces of the crew on the deck. Every movement is logged. Every violation of international law is documented. The helicopter pilot brings the aircraft down, descending to 300 feet. He executes a thundering pass directly over the bow of the Venezuelan vessel. The rotor wash hits the water like a hammer, churning the sea into a blinding mist. The wind blast strikes the enemy deck crew, forcing them to shield their eyes.
Tarps rip loose from their tie-downs. The noise is deafening. It is a display of raw mechanical power. The helicopter banks hard, coming around for a second pass. The sensor operator engages the laser designator. It is not a weapon, but a high-intensity beam of light. It paints the bridge of the patrol boat a dazzling green, warning that cannot be ignored. The Venezuelan captain flinches. He realizes he is no longer the hunter. He is being swarmed. Back on the destroyer, the electronic warfare officer goes to work. He activates the soft kill capabilities of the CWIP system. He targets the navigation radar of the approaching boat. He does not burn out their receiver. He simply floods it with noise. The Venezuelan radar screen turns to snow. Their situational awareness evaporates. They are blind, and they are being buzzed by a 10-ton predator. The radio crackles again.
The American voice is calm but authoritative. It repeats the warning in fluent Spanish. It states that aggressive actions will be met with defensive force. The message cuts through the static. The reality of the situation settles in. The Venezuelan crew freezes. They look up at the helicopter circling like a hawk. They look at the destroyer, which has not flinched. The disparity is overwhelming. The adrenaline on the small boat turns to fear. At 16:31 hours, the patrol boat throttle drops. The bow wave collapses. The engine pitch winds down. The vessel slows from 27 knots to a wallowing 15. The hard intercept angle softens. The boat begins a slow turn to starboard, turning away from the American ship. The collision vector dissolves. The threat is de-escalated.
Yes, Captain.
But the engagement is not over. As the Venezuelan boat retreats, it continues to emit radar pulses, trying to reacquire a picture.
This is a fatal intelligence error. The passive sensors on the Ralston are vacuuming up every signal. They record the specific frequency hopping pattern. They record the pulse repetition interval. They record the unique electronic fingerprint of that specific fire control radar. The Venezuelan captain thinks he is escaping. In reality, he is handing over the keys to his electronic defense. The American destroyer catalogs the data. It updates the threat library for the entire fleet. If this vessel ever tries to engage again, the U.S. Navy will know exactly how to jam it before it even fires. The Seahawk remains on station, pacing the retreating boat, ensuring the withdrawal is genuine. The camera pods continue to roll, recording the retreat. The video feed is transmitted in real time back to the fleet command. It serves as irrefutable proof of who initiated the aggression and who maintained professional discipline.
This is a fatal intelligence error. The passive sensors on the Ralston are vacuuming up every signal. They record the specific frequency hopping pattern. They record the pulse repetition interval. They record the unique electronic fingerprint of that specific fire control radar. The Venezuelan captain thinks he is escaping. In reality, he is handing over the keys to his electronic defense. The American destroyer catalogs the data. It updates the threat library for the entire fleet. If this vessel ever tries to engage again, the U.S. Navy will know exactly how to jam it before it even fires. The Seahawk remains on station, pacing the retreating boat, ensuring the withdrawal is genuine. The camera pods continue to roll, recording the retreat. The video feed is transmitted in real time back to the fleet command. It serves as irrefutable proof of who initiated the aggression and who maintained professional discipline.
The destroyer eases its posture. The gun turret rotates back to center. The fire control radars go to standby. The crew relaxes, but only slightly. The logbooks are updated. Every timestamp is verified. The incident is closed. The outcome is a silent victory. No missiles were launched, no steel was twisted, but the message was delivered with absolute clarity. The Venezuelan patrol boat attempted to manufacture a crisis. They sought to test the resolve of a deployed American warship. They relied on surprise and proximity, but they failed to account for the depth of the systems they were challenging. They failed to understand that modern warfare is not just about who fires first. It is about who controls the information space and who dominates the electromagnetic spectrum. The U.S. Navy did not just avoid a fight. They demonstrated why their presence can deter one. They dissected the adversary, stripping them of their tactical secrets, while the world watched a patrol boat turn away, humbled by a force that never even pulled a trigger. This is the nature of maritime supremacy. It is defined by the capability to destroy, held in check by the discipline to deter. The ocean remains quiet. The USS Ralston continues her transit, disappearing into the heat haze of the Caribbean, leaving nothing behind but a fading wake and a permanent record of the encounter.